do a get ready with me video. Never done one before. Let's give it a shot. And yes, that's a curler in my hair. I'm trying not to apply heat to my hair lately. So earlier this week, when I was spending time with God, I was reading a story I've read, I don't know, goodness, at least many dozens of times, about the woman with the issue with blood. And as I read it this time, I got this sudden revelation, like it hit me, and I want to share it with you. You see, this woman had suffered with the issue of blood for 12 years. I can't even imagine that. For me, 5 days was way too long. She suffered with this issue, and she'd been to all the doctors and all the places and all the things and all the stuff. It was in that desperation. It was after seeing all the doctors. It was after doing all the things. It was after all the she got so desperate. It was her pain. It was her struggle. It was the hardest thing she'd been through that drove her to the feet of Jesus. What I realized was that if she wouldn't have had that struggle, if she wouldn't have had to go through that pain, she probably would have just been standing there on the sidelines, like sometimes so often as Christians we do, where we're content with being near Jesus instead of being at his feet. And it was that desperation, it was that pain, it was that struggle that caused her to do whatever it took. Everyone knew she was unclean. Everyone knew her past. And I'm sure that kept her from doing many things. But that day, you know what it didn't do? It didn't stop her from getting to the feet of Jesus. It was that pain. It was that struggle. It was her past. It was the uncleanliness that caused her to move. She did whatever it took to get to the feet of Jesus. And like I said, if she wouldn't have, she probably would have stood there and just waved as he walked by. There goes Jesus. I got to see him. But it was that pain. It was that desperation. That if she could just touch the hem of his garment, she would be healed. And here's the thing, y'all. So often, it is that pain, it is that struggle that drives us to the feet of Jesus. Otherwise, we stand back and we just are content with being near him. It was my addiction, my struggle. It was the trauma I went through. It was the grief. It was the loss. It was the hurting. It was all that stuff that caused me to do whatever it took to get to the feet of Jesus. But listen, this is where not only was she healed, how many millions of people have decided to touch the hem of Jesus because of her story, have surrendered, have identified with her, have decided to lay down everything and do whatever it takes to get to Jesus because of her story. Her healing wasn't attached to just her. That drove her was the pain and the struggle. That's what drove her to his feet. You know, I'm not grateful for the things I've put my family through or that my addictions caused. But what I am grateful for, it drove me to the one that could heal me. Because I was down there in the pits of hell. I was the unclean, the disqualified, too far gone. But God, could the very pain, struggle, or issue that you're going through or that you've been through be the thing that God's going to use as your purpose? Not only drives you to the hem of his garment, but that he also uses to help others. The Bible tells us he turns all things into good. Not some, not a little, not a few, all things. It's because we surrender to him. It's because we give it to him. What is God calling you out of right now? Where is God calling you to go? Where is he wanting to use you? What struggle have you been going through or you currently going through? God wants to use to not just heal you, but to heal others, to help set others free, to help bring others to him. That lady with the issue of blood, we don't even know her name. She was desperate to do whatever it took in my walk with God. I get real content with just, Jesus walking by. And when things are going real good, I'm just real content to be near God instead of being intimate with him. I want it to be that's the desire of my heart. I don't want to just be near him anymore. I want to be intimate. I want to grow closer. I want my desires to be his desire. I want to be more like him. And the only way that I can do that is by spending more time with him. So here's what I want you to know. If you think your past disqualifies you, if you think you're too far gone, if you think that God can't use you, you are wrong. That is a lie from the enemy. God will use the very thing that you've struggled with the most and not only heal you from it, but help countless others to heal.